Okay, we've got the form done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the vinyl on the top. And for that process, we're going to use the, I filled in all of the glue all the way around, so it's got a nice even coat. If you have any little pieces, just trim them off, because you want this as smooth as possible, because what we're going to do is we're going to lay the vinyl over the top of this. So you want it to be nice and smooth so it looks nice. So if you have any stick out little pieces of glue, just trim them down. Okay, just like that. Okay, so take your tacky glue. This is plain Olene's tacky glue, and we're going to coat the top of the form, and we're going to be generous. Okay. So let's put this back. And we're going to coat this all the way around the form, because this is going to hold the vinyl in place. Okay. Okay, get it nice and coated. Fingers off. Okay, you can take your piece of vinyl, and there's no grain to this, so just take any piece that you get to, just like that, and cut it off. Now you're going to hold it down. If you have another one of these already made up, you can just set it on top and use that to press together. You just want to make sure it gets a nice connection, because you don't want any bubbles or anything in there. So just give it a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, just a little bit, a couple seconds. Okay, when you think it's nice and firm in there, take a pair of scissors. Get comfortable again here. Take your scissors, and we're going to trim. We're going to trim the same width away from the edge as the width of the form, because we're going to bend that down with hot glue. So I would say about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, if it's not perfect, doesn't matter, because your base is going to cover it. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. You just want to cover at least half of it. Okay. Just trim up some of the too thick places. So that's it. That's basically it. Okay. So once you have that, you're going to go back to your hot glue. And you're going to put some more glue here on the edge. You can do it right on the vinyl itself, and then just hold it down. You're not making any clips or anything in the vinyl. You're just easing it in all the way around. So just hot glue it and bend it down. Okay, you might want to use a little water so your fingers don't stick. See what you're doing? You're just bending it down. And the reason you're doing that is because, see how much of this is showing up here? That's what I bent down, because the thickness of the connection points it's not, the trim that I'm using is not thick enough to cover both the top sole and the bottom sole. So you want to give yourself a little cushion so you don't see anything when you're putting them together. And that's all this is for, is to cover any that is to cover anything that's not going to be covered by your trim. Just a little extra cushion is what I'm trying to say. If you put too much glue on it, just trim it off. Okay, if you went too far on some of these, you can just trim them off now. This glue gets sticky. Okay, so we've got the top piece covered. I've got glue in my hands. Okay, everything looks to be down pretty good. And there is your top piece. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to put on our toe piece, our ribbon, and then our elastic. So let's test it on the doll's foot. Okay, still looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we can do the toe piece and then we'll do the elastic. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my other foot out, my other shoe out, so I know exactly where I placed it on this shoe. Okay, so there's that, so you're going to line that up. So let's line up one. We're just going to take a piece of hot glue, put it on there, and notch your finger, and make sure we got it lined up right. Okay, looks good to me. So now we're going to put it on the doll's foot, wrong foot. And we're going to bring this over and we're going to glue the other side. Make sure it's right. Now if I had this positioned wrong, I could still go ahead and pull it out and reposition it. Let's see what it looks like with the toes on there. You can actually see where the toes are and if they're in the same location. One's got, it looks pretty good as far as the toes go. Let's see on this side. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay. Because this is wire, I'm going to use the wire cutters to cut this off. Okay, so there's that and that. Now, I'm going to use, remember I said I used a couple different types of glue. Let me reinforce this for one thing. Put some more glue on there. Okay, I'm going to take some of this 527 and I'm going to take a needle and I'm going to put that in the edge to keep this flush against the, I want to keep this flush against the vinyl. So I'm going to take a pen, I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the end of the pen, and I'm going to dab it right here on the vinyl. This dries clear, and I'm going to put that flush. This is, you don't have to do this step, but I like that to stay flush, so that when I do go to put the outside trim on, it doesn't buckle on, it doesn't stand, it stays firm against the vinyl. So you might have to hold it for a minute or two. So it stays nice and firm. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take a little dab of glue. I'm going to put it right there on the vinyl where the trim is. And I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to hold it for a minute. I can add some more glue back here while that's firming up. Okay, so we've got that going. Might have been a little off. Not too bad though. Maybe a little bit, not too much. Okay, so now we're going to get our silver cord, and this is the elastic cord, and we're going to get enough to wrap around with the doll. Oh, and we have a piece already cut. Perfect. Okay, so this is a crisscross in the front, so we're going to crisscross it, and then it's going to come around the back like this. Okay, there's your crisscross. You don't want this tight. You don't want the elastic tight because you're going to want to be able to take it on and off. And if you make it too tight, you're not going to be able to get it off. And if you make it too tight, you're going to ruin the elastic. Eventually the elastic is going to be damaged and you can't use it anymore. In fact, this elastic probably will not age well. I don't know what the lifespan on is it, but I wouldn't guarantee too much. Okay, this is going right in the crook of the shoe. So just put a dab of glue there, press it down. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Line up your elastic, put it in the same crook on the other side, and dab of glue. Okay, it's in there, it's in there. And then we're going to cut these off. Okay, see how well we did. Compared to the other one. Let me put this back on. Okay, I think it's pretty good. Might have been a little bit on the toe, but not really, not too bad. Okay, good enough. All right, so now we're going to reinforce that with some extra glue. Okay. Got it down nice and tight. Okay, so now all we're going to do is put our bottom on, our bottom sole. So let's get our last outer sole done. Let's see where we are on time. We're running out of time. But let me cut this out, and we're going to do the same thing with the bottom sole, only this time I'm going to put little diamond cuts or chevron cuts in the outside of the outer vinyl, because so I want a nice finish around the edge of this one. So same thing, we're going to take our white glue. Oh, I think I did that wrong. Put it on the wrong side. Nope, I did it right. Nope, I did it wrong. Let me wipe this off. Okay, make sure you get it in the right position. This is going to be the outer sole, so you want the glue on the outside. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that again. I think I'm running out of time, so let me just show you this real quick. Okay, so we're going to cut this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut little diamonds in here. Then I'm going to use hot glue and glue them to the bottom of the sole. And the reason I'm doing this is I don't want any buckles in the bottom sole. So I'm going as close as I can to the edge and making these little cuts. Okay, so when I come back, we'll go ahead and assemble the shoe, put the heel on, and we'll have a pair of shoes.